Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. I'm HCAM News Director Tom Nappy, and joining us today, we got Matt Clark monitoring the social media, and we're going to have Margie Wiggin with us today. Margie, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you? It's nice to be here.
Excellent. We're happy to have you.
Thank
Uh, I'm I'm doing very well, and I understand today you're going to show us some really cool stuff.
Yes, I am. We're going to make some things.
Can you talk about briefly what we're going to make, and then you can take it away?
Awesome. Yes. First, we're going to make some noise with an acorn top and a blade of grass. And kids, if you're watching, you can learn to do this inside, but you have to make the noise outside because I don't want the parents to be mad at me. And then we're going to make a mask using a paper towel. And then we're going to make it with a handkerchief or napkin or anything you have, bandana. The paper towel one's going to turn out like this. And this is actually what I wear when I go to the grocery store and the post office. And the last thing we're going to make is this thing that I'm wearing in my really bad high school picture. You can look really closely right there. See, it's a wrapped stone necklace. Awesome hair, I know. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do.
Very cool. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we get started with the first craft that you're going to show us today?
Okay, so the first thing we're going to make is we're going to make some noise with a blade of grass. So I put up on some of the Hopkinton sites the supplies that you need. It's good to get a kind of a fat piece of grass. If you get too skinny, it's not going to work as well. So what you do is you make sure that it's flat and put it right against the inside of your thumb like this. Okay, so if you see, here's my thumb, like I'm giving you a thumbs up, and I'm putting it right next to the inside of my thumb. So it's lined up next to my thumb. Then I take the other thumb and I put it right in that same spot, like that, in between. And then once I have the grass in between my two thumbs, I'm going to blow right in the middle there. You see that little hole right there in the middle? Sorry, it's kind of loud. So that's how you do that. Fun way to make a whistle. Don't do it inside. Your parents will not be happy. All right. So that's the blade of grass. The next thing I asked people to get was an acorn top. All right. So the acorn top is also going to be a whistle. So you're going to take your fingers and you're going to make them into a V like that. Okay. So you put the knuckles together and turn them a little bit. And when you blow, you're going to blow right on the knuckles like that, blowing down. So the acorn, you kind of pinch it between your finger and your thumb on both sides, and you got a V in the middle. All right. So you got a V in the middle of your finger and your thumb. You blow down. Again, really loud. Don't do that inside. Your parents will not be happy.
Who,
Did you
who,
know how to do either of those, Tom?
I don't. I can't say I've done those before. I never knew a blade of grass or a acorn top could be a whistle type of instrument.
That's right. Fun facts. Yep. I think I learned the whistle from a neighbor when I was in third grade, and the grass my dad taught me. And I every year I'm a nature counselor in the summer at a day camp, so all those kids know. So we're just gonna keep passing that along.
Very cool. I
Yeah,
like it.
it's a fun fact. All right.
There-
Next thing we have it's a paper towel. This is the kind that you can rip in half and make a smaller one. But basically, you just want a square of something. All right. This is paper towel. I'm also going to make it with a napkin. You could do a bandana. So you take the paper towel. This is just like what the Surgeon General Jerome Adams, I think his name is, showed us. He's so great. So you're going to fold it in thirds, which means that the top is going to come down, the bottom is going to go up, and you're going to have a long rectangle. I'm almost done. It's pretty fast, right? And apparently, the virus stays a very, very brief time on paper. So paper is a really good thing to use because you could actually recycle it when you get home if you want to. All right, so now we have this long rectangle. Now we're going to take our 2 rubber bands. Make sure they're stretchy because this is the part that goes over your ear. If it's too tight, it's going to be really uncomfortable. So you're going to take your long paper towel. You're going to put this toward the end of it, and then you fold it over. All right, so you got folded paper towel, rubber band out the side. Do the same thing on the other side, other end. Rubber band goes around. Flap it over. Have to put it down on the table. All right, so now that I have this is the side underneath where both pieces are flapped over. I got a rubber band on this side. I got a rubber band on this side. The Surgeon General just held it in place when he put it over his face. So you can kind of hear me. It's a little muffled, but it's done in like, what was that, a minute? Done, okay? The other thing I did, if you do it like that, you can just take it off and recycle it when you're done, okay? The other thing I did with mine, if you feel like you need to, is I put tape on the inside flap part, all right? So that's a way to make a face mask out of a paper towel. Pretty much we all have paper towels. So there's a good way to stay safe. If you can't get to the store and you can't get something like this, which I actually hear isn't as good in terms of the germs, because the virus stays longer on something like this than on a paper towel. So, all right, now we're going to go to
question. And do you know how many times that you should use the same paper towel? Do you think you should use a different one each time, or can you use it a couple times?
Well, that's a very good question. So here's what I printed out from something online, which is talking about how long the virus stays on paper versus other surfaces. So if it lives on a surgical mask 7 days, cloth for 2 days, and paper for 3 hours, theoretically, you could go to Price Chopper, put the face mask away for 3 hours, and then you'd be fine because it doesn't live on that surface.
Right.
But I'm not an expert. I don't play a doctor even on TV. So I don't know. Yeah. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm just go by what I read, and sometimes what I read is not true.
Refer to Dr. Google.
Exactly. That's what I did. All right. So here is a big paper, whatever. This is a cloth napkin. All right. Because I can't find my bandanas. I put them with my summer stuff. So take the big square again, fold it in thirds. All right. So I got it folded in thirds. And this I would actually fold again because it's really thick. If it's just in thirds, you want to make sure it covers your nose and your mouth. So I'm going to test. Yes, that covers my nose and my mouth. All right. So then again, at the ends, we're going to put the rubber band on there. Rubber band goes toward the end. And then it's folded in. All right. So I got the cloth, got the rubber band, and I've got the folded part. Do the same thing on the other side. Cloth, rubber band, folded part. All right, so here's what it looks like. The folded part's on the inside, rubber band is on the edge, rubber band on the other edge, and I just put it on my face. And now I have a cloth face mask, all right? This is just my cloth napkin that I use at my house. Apparently from that article, it stays on cloth, what is it, a day or two? 3 hours, no, 2 days. So I would, if I came home with this, I would put this right into the laundry because if the germ is on here for 2 days, I don't want to put that on my face again.
Well, that's a good thing about it too. You could just throw that right in the washing machine.
Exactly. And if you don't tape it or glue it or anything, it's still your same, you haven't sewn anything. You don't need a sewing machine. You don't need fancy material. I'm big on making use of what you can find. Um, so you don't have to stress about, oh my gosh, I don't have the right material. I don't know what I'm going to do. Most people have rubber bands around, and they have, if they don't have cloth napkins, they probably have paper towels. Um, I think the Surgeon General was showing that you can cut a section out of a t-shirt. As long as you have a square that's about a foot square, fold it in thirds, fold the ends over, rubber bands, stick them on your ears, good to go.
Perfect.
You're going to do that at home, right? I know you are.
I might just have to. The masks are quite important nowadays.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I was looking at what he did, and I thought, you know what? I think I can use a paper towel for that. And it seems like a good idea. And again, you can recycle it or whatever you want to do. All right, so now the one that's going to take a little more time, because those are kind of quick. A little more time. Again, I'm going to show you this fabulous picture because it's funny. So when I always loved nature. So this stone was so beautiful, and I found, I think it was sodalite, and I found it, and I had wire. My dad had wire in the basement for whatever electrical thing. I don't know what it was. So I wrapped the wire around the stone. And then more recently, when I find stones, I wrap them, and then I attach that wrapping onto whatever kind of chain. This is a shell kind of necklace thing, another shell necklace thing. This is a piece of hematite. I usually try to use a triangle shape, seems to work the best. And this is a piece of red, I think that might be red jasper or something. Or no, that's a red tiger's eye. So some of these stones you can find at places like the Enchanted Fox in Medway on Route 109, or actually Hopkinton Drug has some of these beautiful polished semi-precious stones. And this one is blue lace agate. So just to give you an idea. And then it also works really well if you find a heart-shaped stone in the store. So this is what the heart-shaped stone looks like in the front. And then the back, just to make it tight, I did kind of a squiggly thing. So really these can be made in your own particular way. There's no one exact way to do them. This one is celestite, I think, different on each side. So the hearts are nice. I like a triangle shape because it holds the wire. Okay, so here's another heart. All right. So what I did when I put up the message on Hopkinton Uncommon or whatever, I forget all the things, I said which materials to get. So I don't know if everyone has wire, but I have, this is about a foot long piece of 12 inches of just galvanized steel wire. You get it at the hardware store like this, or a craft place. And you can use different colors, but this is what I have. So I don't know if people have this at home or what they're using, but the other thing I did was I went outside and I just picked up a stone. So you can really do this with any stone. This is just a piece of gravel, I think. But I liked it because it's kind of it's a neat color, and it's a sort of a good shape that will grab the edges of what I'm trying to do. So I usually start by putting the wire right behind the stone. So I got it right behind the back. All right, and out of the bottom of it, that's the part I'm going to wrap up and around to hold the stone in place. You have to make sure that the stone stays in place, or it's going to fall out and then you don't have a necklace anymore. So I just came up from the bottom to the top, and I'm going to wrap around the top just like this. So I just wrapped around it twice, and I'm only using my hand and the galvanized steel wire. What I like about this kind of wire is that it's not going to tarnish like silver or silver plate would. Anyway, so now I have this thing. I've got it. It's coming up the back. It's coming up the front, straight up. Now I'm going to go around it a little bit and then attach back up to the top and make a loop to hang it on a chain. All right, or whatever you have. So here we have this. I'm going to go around the front. I'm going to go around again. Now I'm sort of on the bottom. I'm going to go over here. So what I did was I just went around it a couple times. And on the back, it looks like this. You just wrap it around so it can stay in place. You're trying to make it secure. So if I shake this stone, woo, it's not going anywhere. But I am going to have to tighten it because this loop is a little loose. So I pull it tightly with my hand, come up around, and I'm going to just wind that wire around the top. Okay. All right, so now I have wrapped my stone and it's pretty secure. It's very secure, I will say. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my loop at the top. All right, so now I'm just going to make a loop. It's just pretty simple. Make a loop. So there's my loop. And I have a piece out the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go around with that. And actually, you want that loop to be sideways, because then when you put your string through here, your stone will lie flat. Okay. So now I'm just going to go around the loop to make sure that's in place. All right, so now I have stone that's wrapped. There's a loop at the top. I'm going to come around. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to squish it down on the other wire so nothing's sticking out. I don't want that to catch on anything if I'm wearing a sweater. Yeah. All right. So, voila. So we have the wrapped stone with the loop on the side. What I'll do is I'll put it on the necklace I'm wearing. This is like a ball chain that you can get at Joann's. And this one actually is, I took a piece of beach glass and I wrapped it with a gold colored wire. So that's that. So if I take off, it's not going to come off. I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to put it on the chain, and then you'll see that it actually looks like a real thing.
This would make a great anniversary present.
Well, it could. It could. So there is the finished product.
Wow, right? That's very nice.
Not bad, right? It was that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it really it depends. I mean, some of them are harder to wrap. I picked up this stone, which I thought was very pretty. It's got a little band around it. My grandfather told me if it's a rock with a band around it, it's a lucky stone. So, but this might be harder because the edges are smooth. So it might be a little slipperier. What was good about this one was that it had some angles to wrap around. See the difference? One's smooth and the other one's kind of angled. All right. And then when I wrap the heart, same thing. You can go up and around. So you have sort of angles. It's kind of a triangle shape. So I recommend a triangle shape, but again, there's no exact way that it looks different every time, which is part of what makes it art. You know, if it was always the same, it would look like a machine did it. And this shape, diamond shape, actually would work really well too. Again, because you have the angles to wrap the wire. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to wrap more because I think people get the point, right?
Right. Yeah. That's really cool. You could pretty much do that with any stone, as you said. Obviously, there's some shapes that work better than others. Uh, but I think if you're at the beach collecting rocks, you could find some cool ones there.
Exactly. And that is one of the things that's where I found this beach glass. So right. And it's a way of, I mean, it's the memory, it's just pretty. And I like nature anyway, so it's kind of meaningful to me to have something that I made out of nature. Um, so I do have one more project because I'm so fast at this that we still have time.
Terrific.
Yeah. So that's, being a teacher, I'm always prepared. All right. So the last thing we're going to do, because we still have a few cool days left, we're going to make a scarf. So to make a scarf, you go to the fabric store and you say, I would like a third of a yard of fabric, because they sell fabric by the yard. All right. And you can make a face mask out of this too, but we already did that. So what you do is you take the third of a yard, and this one has a nice sort of stripe pattern on it. So it makes it easy because you can cut up the stripe so you know that you're going straight. All right. So after you cut up the stripe, you're going to have in front of you a piece of fabric that's a very long rectangle. Do you wear scarves in the winter or when it's cool out, Tom?
Sometimes I do. Absolutely. I got a couple of scarves that I really like.
Right. And I have actually found, because I wear scarves a lot, and many of them are ones that I've done exactly like this. What I find is that, again, if I'm at the Price Chopper and I've got my scarf on, I just put it up over my face, and then I don't need to have a mask. I already have the scarf.
There's been doctors on TV that have actually said that scarves could be a good replacement for a mask.
Right. And I have found that, I mean, I don't know if I'm being exposed to virus. I don't have it, knock on wood. So whatever I'm doing seems to be working. So I'm going to stick with it, stick with what works, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So the next thing you do after you cut off the end, so one end looked like this, had the kind of like the curled edge on it. So I cut off the piece that's at the edge. That's kind of where the manufacturer writes their name. So you cut off the name part of it. And then the next thing you do is you figure out how wide you want your scarf to be. How wide do you want that? Do you want it a really thick scarf so it's going to go all the way, or do you want it half of that size? Okay. So you have to decide how thick you want it, and then you cut it the long way. Again, if you have fabric that has lines, you can just cut right on one of these lines. So that makes it easy. All right. And then after you cut that off, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to make an edge to it. What I like to do is I like to make a fringe, and all you do for that is you just cut little pieces. So each section I'm just putting little, just cutting little, and I've chosen to make this line, this red line is where I'm cutting to. All right, so I'm just cutting up, just making my red line, my little fringe at the edge. Matt and Tom, you guys want a scarf? I could cut this in half and make it for you guys.
Sure, I'll take one.
Scarf with doggy prints and hearts.
Oh, I love it.
And if it's not good, you could give it to Mike. He likes
it. Yeah, maybe he would like it. I actually have a scarf that I really like, but thank you.
Perfect. All right, I have like a million because I like different colors. All right, so if after you cut all the way along, your edge is going to have this nice fringe on it. And you can make the fringe as long as you want, as short as you want. And that's part of the beauty of doing crafts and being an artist or doing making any kind of thing, because you can make it your way. You're the artist, you're the crafts person. you are making this thing and you can make it the way you like it. So now that I've finished my fringe, I got a fringe all along the edge here, all that way. All right. So this is, and actually this is even thick enough that I could use it as a kind of a shawl over my shoulders thing. All right. So a lot of different things that you can do with this. And all you did is you asked for 1/3 of a yard of fabric, fleece fabric, at the store, at the Joann's Fabrics or wherever they sell it. Fringe the edge and make sure your side is straight. So another thing, sometimes when they cut it, this edge isn't straight. So you want to make sure that that edge is straight all the way along. See right there, I got to fix that little spot. Yeah, so that's a scarf. So do you have any questions about any of the things that I made, Tom, or?
Well, it's a wonderful scarf. How long have you been doing things like this?
Forever. I'm just so, my mom growing up was always teaching us how to make things, and she was talking to us about nature. And my dad is a very artistic person. He paints, he is an amazing paper airplane maker. He sings. So I can remember when I was fourth grade, my mom got me a pattern. We picked out the fabric and she helped me make a dress in fourth grade with a sewing machine. And then, now at this point, I just look at things and I think, oh, I can make that, and it makes so much sense to me. If I'm in the fabric store and I'm looking at this, I say, well, that looks like a scarf to me. I don't need to take the time to sew anything. It's just like how I made my face mask. I don't need a sewing machine. I just need some scissors and some time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And it's the resourceful thing to do. But those were some lovely things that you showed us. And I think very useful things as well right now, especially the mask. The jewelry was beautiful, and the scarves are excellent. And Mike just said he loves the Patriot scarf that you made him for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's right. You're welcome, Mike. Yeah, it's an easy thing. It's actually something that I had my kids do when they were little, and we would do as teacher gifts, because it's something that a child can do, and then they have a great sense of satisfaction. I'm not sure how useful the whistling items are, but again, the caution is, kids, please take these outside or your parents will be mad at you.
You might have some parents mad at you about that one.
I know. Just sharing what I know.
Oh, well, we love it, and we'll certainly have to have you back to do this again and show us some more cool stuff.
Yeah.
But how's teaching going? Obviously, it's a very different situation right now, but how's everything going with the teaching?
Well, actually, it's very interesting. I had a teaching job so I was working in Hopkinton for 11 years as a teaching assistant. Then I went to Hudson as a reading specialist. They had a reading specialist opening, and I loved it, but that was a short term. It was a substitute. Then this past fall, I was working in Mendon as a one-on-one with a Down syndrome child, and I just absolutely adored that. But what happened was that job ended, so I had to think of what can I do, and I've been tutoring. So now I tutor on Zoom. So it's been going very well. So I don't have to go to their homes unless there's just one kid who wants that. But it works really well. I just tutor just like this.
Wonderful. Well, it's great that you can still help out your students.
Right.
And today you helped everyone learn some great, cool art projects that they could do at their homes. And we'll certainly have you back in the very near future. Thanks so much for joining us today, Margie.
My pleasure. Nice seeing everybody. Stay safe, wear a face mask, wear your gloves, wash your hands.
Absolutely. And we'll certainly see you again in the very near future.
Awesome.
And right now we're going to send it over to Matt Clark, who has HCAM Insider. And then we'll have Mike Tarosian talking with Kelly Grill from the Hopkinton Center for the Arts. Thanks again, Margie.
You're welcome.
Matt, you can take it away.
Thanks, Tom. Well, Coming up later today, we actually have a very special event. We have Cheryl Peralt, who's going to be hosting a live Wake Up and Smell the Poetry with some of the artists. We have a group called the Lied Twos, as well as a single artist who's I'm trying to remember their name. I have it right here. But I'll get that in a second. That's at 7 p.m. tonight, and it's going to be airing on YouTube and HCAM TV, like always. And the other artist's name is Nadia Colburn. Sorry about that. And then next week we obviously have a whole nother week of hangouts. We have Amy Beck and Ashley Shaheen from the Senior Center. We have Dan Norton and the boys lacrosse captains on Monday. We're going to be talking with Fire Chief Slammin and Tom Keene, the basketball coach, and a lot of other people. So we have a lot coming up next week.
Very cool. And we certainly look forward to it. And I think it's been real fun doing this show. We're going to have some more fun right now as we send it over to Mike Tarosian, who's joined by Kelly Grill. Mike.
Hey, thanks, Tom. So we're here for the second half hour, and today we're going to talk with co-director Kelly Grill, who is standing by with us. I think she's in now. Kelly, you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining us on the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. And I want to tell the people at home, feel free to look us up on Facebook or YouTube with some questions for Kelly. If you have any, we'll be watching. So, all right, Kelly, what's going on with you these days?
Well, quarantining, as we all are, right? And but we do have some stuff online, and we've got some events happening, and we're trying to stay as connected as possible with everybody in the community.
All right. So before this, everything was going on. You had all these big events planned, and I'm sure forget about what the dollar does because we know what the economy's doing now. But I mean, how does it feel with everybody just like ramping up to productions and all of a sudden, boom, you're done?
Yeah, it was really sad. We have production of Laramie, the Laramie project, which it's the 20th anniversary actually of that production. But and we were super excited because we had one of the original advocates who was actually there in Laramie 20 years ago was going to come in and speak to us and do a talk back, but we're fortunate to postpone that till the fall. So we're still doing it in the fall. Same thing with the kids. We're doing a Sally Cotter, which is just a sweet show with about takeoff on Harry Potter, and they were rehearsing online a little bit, but it proved to be too much. So again, we're going to reschedule that. So we're hoping that we can just fit everything in, in a time frame in the fall.
So,
but in addition, we also had a lot of concerts and things too. I mean, we had the shows, but we have concerts, and everybody's been wonderful. All the artists are more than accommodating, and want to still come back. And so we're just sort of on hold to find out, when it's going to be safe. And then as soon as it is, we're ready to roll.
Well, that's great. So you're still, obviously working at home, still coordinating things, and projects are online. It's funny. I was out walking the dog this morning, and I said, I'm going to take a stroll around the HCA. So I walk around, and I go up by the garden where the tree is painted and all wrapped up, and paintbrushes hanging, and the rock is painted. And if you go on HCAM .tv on the slideshow, that's the first picture. I don't know if Tom's listening. He usually can bring up a picture, but so I took a picture of it today, and it's just so nice with everything stopped that you get to view something like that, and get to see some of the art to say, hey, we're still here, we're still existing.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to do that. We've been seeing a lot of people walking down the loop road with their dogs and out, and it's great. And a few of them caught me when I was still there. So we were able to talk at that nice social distance apart, that they missed us, and that they're glad to see that. If you look on your screen,
there it is, right there. Yeah. Was that part of it? Was that a particular project, or was it just kids having fun?
It was a summer project, our summer camp last summer. Sarah Alexander's a teacher, and they just decided they wanted to do this. The strings on the tree is a thing. I sadly I'm not a visual artist, and I don't have
Right.
the background to it, but they're doing these all over, I guess, and just a way to bring color and rainbow. And you might have noticed too on the fence there, they did a rainbow and
Yes.
duct tape.
Yes, I saw the
Fun.
duct tape.
We're encouraging people to do that. So we do our daily art challenges, and we heard about this national movement that people were putting rainbows in their windows, kind of like the hearts for the first responders, but the rainbows would just bring joy, and so people
Sure.
are doing that. So we're
Sure,
telling
and
people to do that
we
too.
also noticed too that they're picking up sidewalk art. And Tom, the next picture, if you can grab that for us, the sidewalk. I've been seeing a lot of people, messages of hope, messages of support to our first responders, and messages just to their neighbors. Staying neighborly from a distance, and they're decorating their sidewalks, and they're doing the driveways. And there's my little girl Kaya out again for the walk
Oh.
yesterday, and a whole bunch of, you can see it looks like they taped up some lines and just filled them in and pulled the tape up. I mean, just some incredible creativeness that this is coming out. I mean, there's going to be an age, like you had the Renaissance. You're going to have the COVID-19 age of art, because all this new creative methods that people are coming up with.
I think you're right. I'm seeing all kinds of things online, and loving that people are sharing it. But I was talking to somebody the other day about people that even don't think they're an artist. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm not an artist." Everybody's an artist. We all know that. You just haven't found it yet. So maybe this is the time that people are starting to find it.
That's true, and I got into my little bit of downtime as well. I got back into the hobby of making models again. So, yeah, you got all these little things going on. And the hard part is the painting. The hard part's the paint. The finish
Yeah.
work is tough for me. All right, so you mentioned, I'm curious, the rehearsals online. What was some of the challenges of trying to rehearse while you're online?
Yeah, well, I will tell you. So Sandy Buckley is our director for Sally Cotter, and she was amazed at the kids, and I think so much because they really wanted to do it and wanted to be there, and so they were incredible at taking the direction and doing their lines. I mean, you can't interact with anybody, so that's
Sure.
the hard thing. But even if you're looking at Zoom, that doesn't quite translate. But they were in the beginning of the rehearsal, so it was fine. They were, doing their lines. But I will say we have been able to run dance classes online, which I am just amazed at these
Wow.
teachers. I'm amazed at these students. So our director, Jessica, there's 2 teachers there, and they projected it on our screen. And they were able to get them and really give them technique, like real technique. They would use a chair at home.
Sure.
And everybody had the same space. And so that program's going really strong. I was delighted, and, just amazing, similar to what you just said. People's creativity come out during this time, when they're given a challenge.
Sure.
And this is certainly challenging. They get creative, and it's working. It's awesome.
How about any art classes? Any kind of drawing, any kind of painting, anything like that going on?
Absolutely. Everything.
Everything.
So far, all ages,
Yep.
everything. We've been able to get so watercolor, oils, and ceramics. believe
Ceramics.
it or not.
Wow.
And ceramics. So we don't have a wheel, so we can't do a wheel, but they're doing hand building and learning kind of the art of the old-fashioned hand building and coil making.
Yep.
And they're also using Sculpey, I think it's called. It's a little bit easier to manipulate, and you can make some incredible things out of it.
Wow, that's outstanding.
So far.
So far. What are the kind of fun things that you're doing to keep yourself, you and the family busy? What are you doing? What's
Well, I'll tell you, what's been awesome is, so my daughter lives in New York and with her boyfriend, and they got out just before all this happened and moved in here. So
excellent. So they are home. That's good.
they're home.
Good.
Yeah. So there's now 6 of us and 2 dogs. in a house that probably is like meant for three. So
Sure.
we're not a lot of space. But the best part is, well, spending the time together, but cooking. Like, my God, the meals are they go on for days, and they're so amazing. They're gourmet meals. They're all good cooks. Not me, they are. And it's really fun. And we pick a movie night, like, everybody gets a turn to pick the movie, everybody gets a turn to make the meal. And so there's so many things that are coming out of this, I think, for people that you never would have thought. Certainly, quality time and spending it together, and again, trying to be creative as a family. Like, how are
Right.
we going to make all of this work with all of these people and these dogs? And it's been great. It really has. I actually
So-
just had a wonderful gift yesterday. My nephew had a baby. So that's been
Whoa,
the big
great,
exciting. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations to everybody. That is
Thank you.
outstanding. So the kids home. So okay, so you have your dinner making and your lunch making. I'm sure it's incredible. I mean, none of us are going to be ready for the beach this summer. It's not going to happen. I know. Um, with you, I know you guys are all performers.
No.
You guys sitting around
No.
the radio singing songs or doing anything? Nope.
Yeah. So tonight, as a matter of fact, we're doing last Friday night we did Facebook Live open mic, first Friday open mic Facebook
Yep.
Live, and tonight we're doing cabaret open mic Facebook Live.
Wow.
So it'll be for those musical theater buffs and people who like cabaret style singing. We have an incredible lineup: Caitlin Shea, Alyssa Surratt, Eric Balboni. Going to be some really great music tonight, and people can just watch at home via Facebook.
Well, that's outstanding. That is great. So now that once we get out of this, hopefully, hopefully May, maybe June, who knows?
Yeah.
When we get out of this, will the HCA be ready to just open up the doors and start where they left off? What kind of problems do you see getting back in the swing of things?
Well, I mean, I guess it all depends on, what the guidelines are, what best practices are as far as gathering. But I know we had planned and are continuing to plan a fundraiser that we were going to do on Father's Day, June 20th, which will be outside. So I thought, well, people will be really ready to be together outside. And it's an Ottawa's Art Day, it's called. And it's going to be, we're going to have vintage cars from collectors all around the area, and an art show of photography of old cars in the gallery, and then food trucks and music, and just have a big celebration day during Father's Day weekend. So that my hope is that'll be our first chance to be all together and hug each other. We want to have a big hug fest. We're trying to figure out how to make that happen when it's all safe.
Elbow bumping fest.
Elbow bumps, yeah. So we're hoping that, but I guess it's we've been talking a lot to other art centers. It's uncharted. We just want to be sure that whenever we do roll things out, we do it safely and when it's appropriate.
That's outstanding.
But in the meantime, there are a lot of things that we can connect online.
So some of the things now. How about guitar lessons and stuff like that? Is that still going on? Like even learning guitar online?
It is, and you know what? Those were actually the easiest thing, believe it or not, to put
Really?
online, because
Wow.
it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
And so it's been very, and the teachers will do, even they were surprised. At first they were hesitant, but we got on with everybody and showed them some tips. So all of our private lesson teachers are continuing their lessons online. So there's very little break there. There's certainly less classes that translate, excuse me, online as there were than we have. We probably have about a quarter of our classes are actually up online, but the availability of them, whether it's dance or music or theater, Jerry Shea is actually doing a monologue class, and he has had a great response.
Tell me about that. That is fantastic, seeing Jerry Shea back at the HCA.
Yes, we're so thrilled. He's now our new director of acting and musical theater. and he's coming up with a curriculum for us, and it's a much more robust, and it gives great levels for people, for beginner actors, intermediate, and advanced troops. And so working from a pro like him is really exciting.
Yeah, that's
So,
great.
and he's doing his online, he started a monologue class for both teens and adults, and people are loving it.
That's great. So, how about those troublemaker guys? Are they trying to get together at all online? The
Trouble. Oh yes, they are. Gosh, there's so much I forgot about them. Yes, or you know what they're doing, which I think is very sweet, is they're getting together every week and they're having a class. So their director, Eric Miller,
Yep.
is offering some music theory and a little bit of, singing but a 20-30 minute class for them, because it's too hard to sing as a group, but then they spend the rest of the time just socializing because they miss each other. It's very sweet. But that's become, we realize that that's a big part of it. The arts are such a social activity, and it's so important for so many people that are involved in it. That's sort of how they feel well, is to be around other people. So it's a nice opportunity for them to be together every week.
The Troublemakers, fantastic group. I enjoy every show. I try to personally be at every show just to film it because I love it, and I love the energy now that Eric brings along. Your new music director. The energy, I can see it in the group, because I mean, how long the Troublemakers has been around? I mean, I've seen them since day one, and it's
Yeah.
for the most part, some of the faces have changed, but I see how much energy, and I don't know, the smiles just seem bigger on their faces every time they rehearse and perform. It's great, and Eric is fantastic.
He really is. He's quite a find, and he's teaching as well. He's teaching online voice and piano, and he has come up with these great classes that it actually was a great opportunity, because as an adult you're thinking, oh well, I don't really want to go to a class to learn how to sing or learn music. And now that they've gone, they've all said, oh my gosh, this has totally opened my mind about how to read music, and how to be a better singer, and how to understand this a little better, makes it clearer. So again, sort of like hidden little silver lining in some of these things.
That's outstanding. And I believe Jim has just chimed in, and he has a question for you. I'm not sure if he's there.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Tim.
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
So I really, really think arts are incredibly valuable from very many different perspectives, not only as an outlet for the artist to express themselves, and also from the viewers to enjoy that art, which can be thought-provoking or entertaining, and any mix of the two. The thing that I'm interested in is, how are your membership and your artists doing there? And I am sure this is a difficult time. What can people do to help the HCA?
That's a great question. So for our members and non-members, and for the community, we're trying to put up as many opportunities to view art. Marianne Brosho just did a 5-minute, make you an art expert little lesson. And there's a daily art challenge, and there's some dancing and some fun things that people can participate for, so they can be creative, that are just out there for us. And we want to share as much of that as possible. But it certainly is a tough time. I mean, we definitely are hit by this. Everything is at a standstill. So ways that people could help us are to become a member is a good way. If you haven't done that before, your membership is good for a year, and it gives you benefits and discounts at different levels on what we do, but it really does support the organization. And the other is, we do have a COVID-19 relief fund. So we have put a fundraiser up there, and we were extremely fortunate to receive a $10,000 challenge. So we have a $10,000 donation if we match it, and we're at about 6,500 right now. So we're trying to get to that finish line to get that match. So people can just go online on our website. It'll be like the first thing you'll see right there.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you can get on it. Any amount is we're more than grateful for, and any amount is doubled. So it's like your gift is you're giving double.
That is great. That is great. And one thing I'm always wondering, what is your passion? I know that you're a co-director. I know that you have probably a lot more paper to push or other administrative duties that you would, you know, would pass off if you could. However, you do need to know that the HCA could not be what it is without the passion and dedication that you've had. But
Mhm.
talk to me about what you love about art.
Oh my gosh, so many things. So I tell my story in that was back when I first started participating. So for me, it was performing arts. That's what I was personally drawn to. I loved singing and I loved acting. But I wasn't very good at it when I started. I just knew I really enjoyed it, and I did it in junior high school. And my gosh, I still remember at the time the director that I had said, you know, you're way too soft. You're not loud enough. You need to speak up, speak up, speak up. And so I was just really very shy and, you know, sort of in my little shell. But then a teacher, his name is Ed Corneli. He was an English teacher at the time. Saw a musical performance that I did and came up to me and said, you know, there's something there. I think I really liked what you did, and I'd love you to try out for my play. And so, my gosh, it just changed everything. You know, someone saw something in me, and it truly changed. You know, from that moment, I knew I loved it, but then I found my home, and I found my people, and I found the thing that gave me the most joy. And so, you know, I did end up going to college for it. I did end up for half a second working professionally as an actress, and that's really what I love to do, is acting and directing. But now I have that same opportunity. I have that opportunity to see things in young people, old people, anybody that has a little bit of a passion for, whether it be acting, now it's expand to a visual artist or a musician or something like that, and to say, I see something in you and I want you to share it with me. And that is what gives me tremendous joy.
That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that, Kelly.
Thank you.
And I know your feelings on that too, because I got the acting bug back in high school when I walked into my electronics shop and my teacher, this was at lunch, and my teacher is reading lines with these bunch of kids. And I didn't know what was going on. I was just going in there to just talk to him and see what was going on. And he says, Mike, and he hands me a book. He says, read this line here. This is okay. And I was hooked. I was hooked. Next thing you know, I'm on plays at school. We're competing at the in Boston against other high schools. It was a blast, and I know what you meant. You felt you're around your people, and I know I wasn't a great actor. I was mostly the stage manager, but I did a very little scenes. You know, my greatest role was I played a corpse. It was awesome. I fell out of a closet. It was great. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, I was I was management in tech crew, as you know, techie guy.
Yeah.
But I felt the love, and that's why you know what my passion is and how I feel about the arts and ESL and everything that happens right across the street here for me, which is just so convenient and lovely, and you know I just can't get enough, and I just wish I had more time so I can start getting back into you know volunteering over there. That's coming up soon, I hope. But um,
Yeah.
but I know what you feel. It's just you you're around your people. It's and you build up your little family there, your little drama family or your little techie family, whatever. They all work together. It's fantastic.
It is. It's like, you know, it's like a team. It's like a team sport. It's like a, you know, any group of people that, you know, have a common passion or common interest that get together. It feels great to be a part of something like that. And that is something, you know, another thing people can do. I'm glad you said that, Mike, is volunteer. You know, that even if you're not interested in being on stage or you're not interested in singing or you just want to be part of it, there's so many opportunities. And when we open back up, we'll have even more to volunteer, you know, paint a set, be on crew, sell tickets, whatever it is. People can
do
get
some
involved that way.
sewing. You can do some sewing, do some hair and makeup,
Right.
help out with the lights, help out with whatever, help out with ticket sales, just running the front office, or help out with concessions. There's so much to do there. And I mean, even if it, I mean, there's also stuff that happens. Let's forget about all that, the acting and the drama stuff, but the other volunteerism. I mean, just, people cleaning up, people that want to organize, people that just want to be behind the scenes and nothing at all. I mean, there's so much to do and volunteer.
Exactly. And we desperately need those volunteers. We cannot do what we do without volunteers. We just can't. We probably have on average, 100 to 200 volunteers a year that come, through different ways. And they're all part of the family too. It's great.
Yeah, that's what you need, and that's just like HCAM. We can't do this without our volunteers, and right now we are kind of doing it without some volunteers because, we can't see each other. We can't. We got nothing to go film. We have no plays, and it's it's great. And I love how you mentioned how your teacher. What was the event that he was just at that he showed up for? Was it a
He did. He came to one of the last plays that we did. I'm in touch with him actually quite a bit now.
Sure.
It's quite lovely. And because he went, after he stopped teaching, he opened his own theater, Stage Left Theater,
Yeah.
in Sturbridge, but now he's retired. And he actually donated the design. We have a Shakespeare garden,
Yeah.
that Peter Mezzett and Western Nurseries donated the plants for, and he designed it. And it's, he was a big Shakespeare guy, and so he that actually was the first play I did with him, was Midsummer Night's Dream.
Sure.
And each plant relates to a text of Shakespeare. He's just a great guy. He's really a special person, and a lot of our lives. I know a lot of people had him as a teacher, and an amazing role model for us to, for all of us, for Mary and Paul and I that kind of started ESL. We all sort of had that same sense of, we want to give back. We want to give to other people what was given to us.
Oh yeah, you work so hard at it, from just, let's meet up and do something, to get yourself some store frontage on Main Street, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was
Feels like forever ago.
It does, right? It just and just see how it grew and how it saw. I mean, everyone saw that this was missing from this town, and when you put it in that little store there on the corner of Walcott and Main, that people came from all over,
Hmm.
and you built it. You built it to working out of a little farmhouse, working some shows down at the HCAM studio, doing
Yeah.
wherever you could find the space. Whoever's going to let you use their space, you
Mhm.
grabbed it, you did it, and you grew it. And here we are today, Hopkins Center for the Arts.
Yeah, and we're already busting out of our seams after being there for having that new building for 5 years. We had to rent space downtown for our ballet classes, and we're going to be looking to expand our space, which is a wonderful.
It's a great thing. Yes, yeah, it's a great problem. it's the bigger problem is not getting people to come into your space, but you don't have that problem. So it's
Nope.
great.
No, we
Outstanding.
actually calculated. I think we have like 218 different communities. We've touched people from 218 different, have participated in the HCA a year.
Wow. Is any art still being displayed, or did everything get put away? I mean, what's going on in the building today? If I was to peek through the windows.
Well, I'll have to admit, Miss Sandy still shows up. God love her. She likes to be working in a workspace. I did for about the first week, but then we figured we better distance it even a little bit more. So she's there working. Unfortunately, we were ready to put up a new show, so we had just taken all the artwork down. It does feel a little odd, to have the walls to be bare. But Chris has a show ready to go. So as soon as we're open, we're ready to put another art show up. We were going to be doing a marathon show, but so now that it's moved to September, we'll do it in September, and we have several others that we can put in through the summer. So we just need that green light.
Well, we're all hoping that green light comes soon. I'm still loving the May 4th date. I still haven't heard any changes on May 4th, but we don't know what it's going to bring. And
Yeah.
hopefully everyone's back out there. Everyone wants to get out of their house. I'm dying to get out of this house. You're dying to get out of the house, get back to work, the real work, not this online stuff. But thank you very much for doing this today, Kelly. Uh, and I also want to thank Margie Wiggin for coming on the first half hour. And I'm Mike Terosian. Come back tomorrow. Come back on Monday for another hour of the Hopkins Hangout Hour. Take care.
You're welcome.
Thank you. See you
Have a
tonight.
great week.
Thank you.